Welcome to Sacred Magic. Violet is on a quest to bring sacredness back into our everyday experiences. Anyone can have an extraordinary life when they are able to tap into their sacred magic within. Violet and her guests will be sharing their divine passions, inspirations, and stories of connecting with their sacred magic. We are so happy you have joined us today. Let's get started with your host, the magical creator of Discover Your Spiritual Gifts, Vialet Rayne.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Sacred Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Vialet B Rayne. My guest today is Melanie Smithson. She is a somatic psychotherapy author and spiritual integration hypnotherapist. For 30 years, she's been supporting others to let go of all blocks, authenticity, and freedom. Her new book, Shake Yourself Free, offers 81 somatic practices to support letting go through your body. So, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hi, happy to be here.
So, 30 years, that's a long time. What guided you down this road to do what you do today? Because I feel like lots of people are getting nudged, pushed, having spiritual awakening, shifts in their lives. And I want them to feel like they're not alone. There's lots of people going through the same kind of things today.
Absolutely. I went through it, I think, before most. My first career was as an accountant in New York City. I was actually a CPA. And while I was sitting at my desk on 7th Avenue across from Macy's, I had a little mantra going in my head. The dance class I wanted to be taking was at 1 o'clock, and I was working until 5. And I'd be sitting there at 1 o'clock going, I don't want to be here. I want to be dancing. I don't want to be here. I want to be dancing. And that mantra push from the universe, whatever it was, wouldn't go away. I took another job that I thought would allow me more flexibility. That lasted 2 weeks. And I finally quit altogether, started managing a dance studio for $50 a week and all the dance classes I could take. So in New York City, $50 a week was never sustainable, even 30 years ago. So I did other work on the side and I got by. And through rather a circuitous route, I found myself in New Mexico, and I signed up for some authentic type movement classes where we find our own, way of moving, what wants to move in me. And that led me to wanting to pursue a career in dance movement therapy. And I actually thought that what the degree would give me, or where I'd wind up going with it, was large dance workshops, but I wanted the psychotherapy background. Well, I wound up as a psychotherapist using a lot of movement in my practice. So I feel like I have been nudged by the universe most of my life, once I started paying attention around 25. But I will also tell you that some of the work I do life between life, spiritual hypnotherapy work. This is the work of Michael Newton, Journey of Souls. I have had so many people come to me in that work I've been doing for 20 years saying, I'm, working in an office, or I'm a lawyer, or I'm this, and I feel like I'm supposed to be helping. I feel like I'm supposed to be on a spiritual path. And so many of those people wind up in my office or on my Zoom office. And often we are finding that we've done this before. Many of us have been witches and shamans and herbalists that in a previous lifetime were tortured, ridiculed, killed, all kinds of things for practicing, what we call magic, which I call the way it should be. Miracles, as the Course in Miracles says, miracles are natural. When they're not happening, something's gone wrong. So I think a lot of us are finding our way back to the work that needs to be done.
I love that. I love that. You sound very much like a sacred movement practitioner, right?
Yes.
So there are many spiritual practices that are actually broken down into different areas that we're all drawn into, whether that's healing, movement, ritual, magic. There are these things, and I do Akashic record readings, which is very similar.
Yeah.
And I find that people throughout their lifetimes do similar things. Like there are similarities and patterns to what we do because we are trying to perfect our work or our knowledge or our wisdom. So we'll do different aspects of the same thing to
Yes.
learn, to evolve, to grow. And I'm sure
Yes.
you find that as well. So if somebody comes in and they're a doctor, it's not surprising that they've been an herbalist, a shaman, lots of other healing types throughout lifetimes, and they're just perfecting it. They're looking at it from different perspectives to get a more rounded
Yeah.
perspective on whatever they do,
Yeah, I
right?
100% agree. And it's interesting because sometimes a past life will look so similar to a current life that people think they're making it up or it's not accurate. But, in all the years I've been doing this, it's like, nope, that's what happens. We're not, incredibly fast learners. So sometimes we have to like, oh, I'm still working on forgiveness. Oh, I'm still working on finding my voice. Oh, I'm still working on this particular skill. I absolutely agree with you. Yes.
I always tell our young people lifetimes to me are like levels of a video game. When
Mm,
you first put that video game in and you're starting to play, you're learning all the aspects of it. It takes you a while to
yeah.
navigate and learn it. But as you keep playing it, you start mastering different things. And each level, you're
Right.
mastering something else. And so,
Yes.
some aspect of the game, which is the same thing as lifetimes, honestly, we're continually mastering, perfecting that skill set, that knowledge. I
Yes.
worked in business for a long time, just like you, and we would
Yeah.
talk, we'd have many conversations on is a leader born or are they created? And I think people that have been leaders in many lifetimes come in with a skill set that they already have,
Yes.
right? And they're really good leaders because they
Mhm.
have learned
Yeah.
our lifetimes, all of our experiences are ways for us to evolve and learn. And I love that. So,
Mhm.
what would you tell somebody, Melanie? Because a lot of people are so stuck that movement with their body, they kind of shut down when you talk about dance or moving our body. How important is
Oh
it
my God.
in our life? I knew you would love this topic to move our body.
Yeah. Um, it's funny. There are so many TV shows that say, well, how do you feel about this? Or how important is this? And people, it's like, well, it's everything. It's like movement is everything. Without movement, there is no life. Now, that said, and I always say, or I often say, all movement is medicine. So whether you're out walking, whether you're doing jumping jacks, whether you play handball, whatever your practice is, just moving the body is good for the brain. That said, becoming conscious of your movement, moving consciously, even if you're walking across the street, even if you're crawling on the floor, even if you're on your belly squirming, to get conscious and present with what's moving brings you into a different awareness about body, mind, and soul. And one thing I do want to point out, especially for people that haven't moved in a long time, that feel intimidated by movement, it's like, I know this around, things like art. Somebody says, oh, we're going to paint now. And I'm like, ah. But I talk myself down. I say, just put your hand on the paper. But even getting conscious of all the movement that is happening in the body while you're sitting still is a great way to start getting in touch with movement. So even if my mouth wasn't moving, if my hands aren't moving, which, whatever, I could become aware of the fluids in my body. I could become aware of my heart beating. I could become aware of the bones as they connect, the joints, the sensation of my body against the couch. All of this is available to me without adding any movement. So for somebody who hasn't moved a lot, who's like, I hear what you're saying, I think I should get in touch with my body, I say start there and then build. So maybe now, oh, okay, I feel the fluids moving in my body. Maybe I can let myself move fluidly back and forth, just a gentle rocking, just a little rhythm to that. So where does that little bit of movement take me? Or maybe it can focus on the breath. The breath, as we breathe, there is a rising of the chest and a falling of the chest. So maybe you let that get even bigger. Big rise, big fall. So that's where I recommend starting. Start small and then let it build as it feels comfortable.
I love that. I love that. You talked about your book. I want to talk about Shake Yourself Free.
Yeah.
Because before we got on to the show, you were talking about all the great practices that are in the book for when you feel stuck or stagnant.
Yes.
So share some of that information with us today.
Yeah. And it's funny that when I opened the book before we spoke, I just opened to Be Stuck. So maybe I'll just go back there and read the practice. If I find it, there it is, Be Stuck, practice number 46. So first, and I'm not reading, when, the word stuck is actually not dissimilar to the word stress and a couple of others that we use in our society that are pretty non-definitive. So I'll talk about stress first, just because I've talked about it so much, but stress is a catch-all. So we don't say I have too much happening. We don't say I feel angry. We don't say I feel like I'm going to get in trouble, like whatever it is. We just say I'm stressed. And that catch-all keeps us caught in the experience. So the more definitive we can get with our experience, the more information we have to move through it. So same thing with stuck. So the first thing I recommend when somebody says to me, I'm stuck, or somebody working with stuck, is to explore. What are you stuck between? Because stuck implies I'm stuck between things, or I can't move. I have no momentum, which is a little bit different. But when we're stuck between, should I go this way? Should I go that way? I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, looking for the metaphors that get more specific about what form the stuckness is taking, because those metaphors can really cue us in. So if I felt like, and this is not in the book, I put the book down, if I feel stuck between a rock and a hard place, maybe then I'm going to go, oh, there's a rock over here. How do I move with this rock? I feel like pushing it. It won't move. Push, push. And what's the hard place feel like? Oh, the hard place feels a little different. So I'm going to start to tune into how my body responds to both sides of this, just to get more information. So what does it feel like to be tied up or pulled down? Do you feel like you're stuck with lightweight or heavy tape, crazy glue, string, or quicksand? So whatever image comes, imagine, being in that, imagine being tugged in different directions, feel what's happening in the body. So all of those different qualities of that can help us start again to shift. What I also have in this chapter is to go faster or go slower, because I know sometimes when resistance arises, when I feel stuck, when I'm not motivated, some of it is because I have an idea of either how hard it's going to be or how fast I'm going to have to go. So the resistance isn't necessarily to doing it, but to doing it fast or doing it, or how slow it's going to be. So to play with the different rhythms in my body so that I can get comfortable with, I'm going to go fast, I'm going to go slow, I'm going to go fast, I'm going to go slow, it's going to be hard, it's going to be easy. All of that creates more space. The third practice, I don't know how many I've mentioned, but one of the practices that I love, and I did it every time I read the book, which I read the book many times, checking for typos, blah, blah, blah. I have a swivel chair at my desk, and I literally just let myself swivel back and forth, back and forth. See, you're not stuck. So recognizing even that, and actually another one is coming to mind right now, to in any given moment, I can let myself feel like, oh God, I'm really stuck. And then just notice where I'm not stuck. Oh, my hands are moving. Oh, my head can move. Oh, body's not stuck. Okay, what's stuck? So watching our language, and this is something I've really been looking at around so many things, even we use the word tired so much, and at least I do. I'm so tired. Stop it, because the more you say you're tired, the more tired you get. But also I start asking, what's tired? So sometimes, I spent this whole weekend dancing. So yesterday morning, my legs were tired, but my mind was alert. So recognizing even that, oh, my legs are tired. Okay, no running today. So maybe we spend the day sitting, but that doesn't mean you can't work. And again, just, kind of checking what messages are we giving ourselves that the body is listening to that may not be supportive.
I love that. Words are so important. One of the words I'm trying to get rid of in my vocabulary is busy.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. And you're going to get kicked back on that one. I had a conversation with somebody years ago, and he was telling me, I bet you're busy. I said, no, I'm really not. Oh, no, you're just saying that. You're probably really busy. No, I'm really not. And it's something that in this society is, the busier you are, the better you are, the more successful you are. And I say bullshit. And I support you in giving up that word.
Well, I've changed it out to being abundant. And in the last, 6 weeks, I am very abundant. I can truthfully say I am very abundant.
Mm-hmm.
And just by changing my language and what I'm saying and what I'm bringing in. And when we say we're busy or we're tired, we block that energy of things coming to us, because spirit, our body, the divine, everything hears us. And what you say, you create. So it's like, okay, stop. So words are so important. So I love that you were saying, and there are words that we say all the time that we really haven't thought about what do they mean. Some words that come to mind that I love to talk about is sacredness. And when you ask somebody what is sacredness, you see this blank look go over their face, because they use the word, but they don't know. They haven't paused long enough to understand what it means. And so our words are so much more than what we consider. And just by pausing and going, wow, I keep using that word. What does that word mean to me? What am I saying to the universe? What am I creating? In all things, what does that look like? Right. So I love that. So shake yourself free. I love this new book of yours, and I love that it has so many practices. Just give us a little overview of the types of people or circumstances that would be perfect for picking up this book.
Yeah, so I'll just go a little bit through the table of contents. So first in the book, I talk about why the book is about how to let go through the body. And so I talk about why to let go. And, a lot of people know that their lives would be easier if they let go, and they feel like they don't know how. So hopefully I'm giving them a lot of good tools. But letting go is also a spiritual practice. And one of the things that I've been saying, this is something that came through on one of these podcasts we were talking about. I said, you cannot let go of that which you are. So the only things we can let go of are the things that we have accumulated, the things that we have held on to, the things we have been programmed into. And the more we can let go of those things, the more we clear the way for spirit to move through us, and the more essence arises. I know in my own experience over the last, 30 years of practicing letting go and all of this other stuff I do, in the last 5-10 years, I feel like I'm starting to hear spirit. And I don't consider myself a psychic. I don't consider myself a channeler. But I feel like I get downloads. In fact, I feel like this book was given to me. So, and I absolutely attribute letting go to that experience. So back to the book. So why should we let go? How does the body support letting go? But then how do we let go of the beliefs that we feel stuck in? What do we do with those perseverating thoughts, the ones that just won't shut up? So one of those is just to go ahead and spin them, to bounce, put them on plates and let them fall to the ground. So just different ways to play with this stuff. I go through the emotions of apathy, sadness, and grief, worry and anxiety and anger. How do we move those feelings? And feelings get held in the body. So moving them through the body is the way to release them. I speak to resistance, feeling stuck, lack of motivation, worrying, procrastination, relationships, boundaries, and finally into how does movement, or how can movement support us in having more of what we want. So the book is basically for anybody on any kind of growth path. I think it's a phenomenal book for psychotherapists and coaches and people looking for specific practices to use with their clients. So I would love to see the books in the hands of every single person in the world, because I think it would change the world. But it's good that I think that, right?
I love that. I love that. So you have a question here that I'd like to cover, and it was how to effectively use movement to support freedom. What does that mean? Because yours is shake yourself free. What does that freedom mean?
Yeah. So to me, freedom is getting myself out of the way. It's the freedom is here. It is what I am. Melanie has all kinds of ideas of what her life should look like and how people should behave. And that is what blocks freedom. And so this is what I was talking about, the letting go process. The more I let go, the more I get Melanie out of the way, so to speak. And my favorite way to do that is through movement. So I dance myself free. My teacher says we dance to disappear ourselves. And that's exactly what I'm talking about, letting go to disappear yourself. Now, again, I know that not everybody is a dancer. But there are plenty of closet dancers. Those of you that are listening that are closet dancers or watching, I see you. But maybe you're out in the mountains, you're out for a hike and you're just, being one with nature. That to me is freedom. It's like you were talking, what is sacredness, what is freedom? So defining those things. And with sacredness, again, same thing. I think they're so close, freedom, sacredness. But I'm in New Mexico, and right now this administration is talking about drilling at Chaco Canyon, which is a sacred ground here for the Pueblo. And so I have actually been moving with that, about the sacredness of this land and what does that mean? And it's like, that's the foundation. That's our heritage. That's where we come from. That is sacred. so many things I think fall into what is sacred, but that was one of the things. And I was like, and this, what I will call immature administration that doesn't know how to feel a feeling, doesn't have a clue about sacredness. So anyway, a little tangent there.
No, I love that. I love that. I love that description. So I want to write a book someday on sacredness. The challenge has been, I love speaking on sacredness, but nobody comes because too many people think sacredness is about religion, and it has nothing to do with religion. It's so much deeper and connected, far
Yeah.
beyond that, right?
Yeah.
They call
Yeah.
me the queen of sacredness because I love bringing sacredness into everything.
Mhm.
And so I just think it's beautiful. So Melanie, share with us, if somebody wanted to work with you, what does that look like, whether
Mhm.
it's Zoom or in person? We'll have your website and all the descriptions and along the bottom, but just share some of the things that you offer.
Yeah. So I do somatic psychotherapy, and what that means basically is psychotherapy with this orientation to the body. How do things move through? How do we hold stuff that wants to release? How do we use the body to support going forward? I do that primarily through Zoom. I also do past life and life between hypnotherapy, which I do both by Zoom and in person here in New Mexico. And I do groups. So right now I'm completing an embodied spirituality group this year. And next year, we're going to move into monthly groups. That'll be more drop-in. But I'm also starting next month, September 19th, which is around, well, this will be out by then maybe. I am starting a training for therapists and coaches to bring the body into their work. So all of that information is on my website, which you'll have Smithson Clinic at the bottom.
All right. I love that. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your sacred magic with us. I really do appreciate you taking the time today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And those that are listening, I wish you a sacred and magical week. Magic is the blessings and miracles that we come across to every day. Magic is so much more than we as a society think it is. Magic happens all around us all the time. The magic in a blooming flower, the birth of a child, a relationship that's blossoming in love. All of that is so magical and beautiful and sacred at the same time. So please like, comment, and follow us on your favorite channels. And I hope to see you again really soon in a future show.
Thank you for joining us. To find out more about Vialet, head over to discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. You can also send a personal message to Vialet through email, violet@discoveryourspiritualgifts.com. If you love the show, subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcast, or Spotify. Until next time, remember, we are meant to have abundant and joyful lives. We hope to see you soon at Discover Your Spiritual Gifts.